Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk to you about SOAPSTone. We're going to be doing this a lot. SOAPSTone is an acronym, and basically it's just a way for us to analyze any kind of work, poetry, short stories, novels, whatever, speeches, a way to analyze them using this kind of like really prescribed framework. So you're going to be doing this in that Google Drive folder that you created, English 2 Journal. You're welcome to do this as a Google Doc and just save it in there and you'll name it document number 2. Or if you want to, if you don't have a computer and you want to handwrite this, it might be a little easier. You're welcome to do that too. You can just take a picture of it, upload it to Google Drive and save it in that folder. And then you can also submit that photo to Canvas as well, right? So for your choices. So we're here on the Pot of Basil Soapstone. So this is on Thursday. And you are going to be looking at this soapstone sheet. So if you click on that, it'll open this. So the only difference between the honors soapstone sheet and the reg is that you guys, the honors will have an extra part here that says lit devices, okay? Otherwise, everything is going to be the exact same. So subject is when you pull a minimum of 10 words or short phrases from the work. You'll write down ones that you think are super important, ones that if they weren't in the story, it would be a completely different story. Generally, you want to stay away from like names and places because those usually aren't quite as important, and really just stick with kind of the meaty subject of the poem or the story. So for occasion, you have immediate and you have larger. We're going to be skipping larger. We're not doing larger for a little while. Okay, so instead, you're just going to be doing immediate, and it's just a brief summary of what's going on. It can be bulleted. This doesn't have to be super in-depth. You don't need to tell me every single story beat that happened in the plot. Instead, just give me a rough outline of the big kind of plot points. Okay, and this can be in bullets or it can be in paragraph form. For audience, we have specific and universal. We are skipping universal. We're not going to be doing universal for a little while. We're just going to be working with specific. So I want you to think about either who is the piece directed to? Is it speaking to a specific person? Or if not, who can learn from it? And it'll be phrased as anyone who. So if I'm reading a story about soldiers in World War II, then I might say that anyone the person that can relate to this is anyone who has served in a war and lost something, right? Because that would be similar to what's going on in the story, okay? For purpose, this is the only one that's going to kind of be a sentence. Again, we've got specific and universal. We're skipping universal. And we're going to be just focused on specific. And you want to think about, why did they write this? What are they trying to teach us? What is the lesson? And it's going to be to plus a strong verb, right? So again, if I'm talking about that example of the World War II story about the soldiers, I might say that the author wrote this piece to argue that war is a terrible price that humans have to pay. Because a lot of World War II works kind of deal with that. All right. So to plus a strong verb and then the explanation of what it is that they're trying to teach. It'll never be to entertain, right? Because everything that was ever written was written to entertain in some way, shape, or form. So that doesn't really do anything for analytical purposes. And you can't just write to promote and then not tell me what it is they're promoting. You can't say to argue, but then not tell me what it is they're arguing about. You can't say to mock and then not tell me what it is. So this is the only thing that'll really need to be like a truly a sentence. All right. So for speaker, normally what you'll be doing is you'll identify if it's in first, second, or third person point of view. So remember, first person point of view is when we have an author or we have a narrator in the story that's telling the story, right? So, and then generally they'll use things like I, me, and my. If we're talking about a second person narrator, then this is where the narrator is talking directly to the reader. You don't see this very often. Sometimes there are books that are written in second person, but generally it's going to be things like recipes, how-to books, that kind of stuff are generally written in second person. And then third person, which is usually the most common, is where you have an outside narrator. Okay, they're not participating in the story, they're telling what's going on. And generally they tend to be more unbiased and more uninvolved in what's happening because they're not really part of the story. You can either be a limited third person narrator or an omniscient third person narrator. A limited third person narrator only knows what one character is thinking and feeling, whereas an omniscient third person narrator would know what all of the characters are thinking. So the pot of basil is a third person omniscient a narrator because we know what Elizabeth is thinking, we know what the brothers are thinking, and we know what Lorenzo is thinking. Okay. Creating action noun combos for omniscient narrators isn't really, or for third person narrators isn't really useful because they're generally all going to be the same kind of thing, like uninvolved, unbiased, that kind of stuff. So instead, for this time only, you're going to be creating 2 adjective noun combos that describe Lizabetta and 2 adjective noun combos that describe Lorenzo. And then you'll pull quotes for each one. Right. So if I describe Lizabetta as a love-struck teen, then I need to pull a quote where it shows me in the story that she is love-struck with her adoration for Lorenzo. So you'll do that twice for Lorenzo and twice for Lizabetta. Tone is the last one. If you are just in my English 2 class, you'll just be creating 2 tone words, and these are just adjectives that describe kind of the feel of the story, and then you pull quotes that back it up. Right. So if you think it's obsessive is the tone, then you'd pull a quote that shows me where it seems to be giving off an obsessive vibe. If you're in honors, you'll have literary devices, and you'll need to pick 3 that you think that you can identify in the story, 3 different ones, and you'll pull quotes that back that up as well. Okay. So like I said, you'll be submitting this to Canvas, but it won't be graded. It'll just be marked complete or incomplete. I won't grade the SOAPSTone until we until I take up journals. We'll go over this next week. I'll post a PowerPoint that kind of walks you through your SOAPSTone. And if there's anything in your SOAPSTone that you think is just wrong, you're welcome to change it to try and fit the stuff that we put on there. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. Thursday, Friday, kids, will be starting this on Thursday, so I'll see you in class and you can ask me questions. Monday, Tuesday, kids, you can talk to me on Monday and Tuesday if you have questions, and remote kids, you can talk to me on Wednesday or just email me at any point. Anybody can email me at any point, and I will answer your questions. All right, guys, thanks, bye.